state of mind now is hip-hop is dead.
The South got something to say, that's all I got to say.
D4L, aka Down for Life, Atlanta, Georgia, active since 2003, featuring Fabo, Mook B, Stuntman, and Shorty Low. Rest in peace, Shorty Low. From 2005 to 2007 and some points in 2008, there was a hip-hop subgenre taking over the airwaves, house parties, ringtones, and hip-hop in general, snap music. This was a wave in rap most in hindsight referred to as a downfall or a downtime in hip-hop, or the gas that fueled Nas to say the famous words, "Hip-hop is dead." Snap was sandwiched right between the beef/gangsta era, 50 Cent vs. Ja Rule, Kiss vs. Beans, Jay vs. Nas, that blew up and kept the hip-hop news cycle spinning, and the rockstar Lil Wayne era/swag rap era, putting a cooler twist to the simple 808s and snapping fingers. Snap music was just as hot as crunk music in the mid-2000s, and one of the pioneers of that sound was today's feature, D4L. First off, I gotta give D4L credit for coming into the beef era along with crunk music at its peak and making a song like Laffy Taffy, which many thought was a parody song of something else until they found out that song would go down in history as one of the more game-changing songs to ever come out of Atlanta. When D4L made Laffy Taffy, they said they never planned on that song being their first and hottest song ever released by the group, but it was. In 2005, it made the Billboard 100, peaking at #1 on the charts, meaning at some point it was the biggest song in the country, any genre. I still remember that song coming out, and literally at any and every function you went to, from clubs to house parties to backyard barbecues, everyone had their snap routine on deck and ready to join in on the fun. At that point, if you weren't snapping when that song came on, you weren't cool. It was like You're a Jerk by the New Boys coming on and not trying to do the jerk, or hyphy music and not hitting the thiz face. It was a fun time in hip-hop, even though that's not at all what it seemed like at the time. The East Coast were pissed when songs like that, Snap Your Fingers by Lil Jon, Can't Do It Like Me remixed with Jermaine Dupri, who geniusly had his hand in everything, Lean With It, Rock With It, Young Jock, It's Going Down, and of course the biggest snap song of all time, Big Draco, Crank That. D4L really had the chance to go as far as they wanted in entertainment, not just rap music. First off, the reason they were more popular than, say, them Franchise Boys was because they had charisma, displayed mostly by Fabo, and they had Shorty Low, a hustler that funded D4L, performed with them, and was an underrated songwriter at the time. They released another hit, Betcha Can't Do It Like Me, in 2006 that didn't get the attention as single #1, but was still a snap music classic. Not saying they would have been the next best rap group, but they could have had a much longer career that lasted more than one single album, seeing as it was highly successful and could have made them the hottest thing to come out of Atlanta. What happened? Let's talk about it. Salute to Neil Valentine for this request. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. D4L was a four-man group from Atlanta, Georgia in the early to mid-2000s that came together just to give each other support on their own music, but didn't know that soon their first song, Laffy Taffy, would be released and eventually go 3 times platinum and reach the #1 spot on the charts and in the country. A year later, they had another song hit with Betcha Can't Do It Like Me that went gold and made the Billboard Top 100, giving D4L the foundation needed to become real factors in hip-hop. But things just weren't meant to be, and just as fast as D4L and any other group or artist popular because of the snap sound became famous, they were gone from the scene, never to really be heard from again. Stunt #1, being mocked for snap music. Not because D4L was having some success meant everyone liked what they were doing and stood in their corner championing their success. In fact, outside of Atlanta and the South, D4L and snap music as a whole were being heavily criticized soon after their hit song Laffy Taffy hit the airwaves. Hip-hop was being conditioned in the early 2000s to revere and celebrate artists that were lyrical or rapping like Jay-Z, Nas, Eminem, or Nelly. The East Coast in particular took heavy offense to the music D4L and others were making, feeling it was a mockery of hip-hop and not the direction the gatekeepers wanted the genre to head. So Nas said hip-hop is dead. Ghostface Killah criticized them and their hit song on wax and on tour, and a lot of radio stations on the East Coast just refused to even play the record. When they did, it was not like you would expect the top song in the country to be catered to. They released their debut album Down for Life November 8, 2005, with both their hit songs on there, and climbed all the way to 22 on the Billboard 200. 40,000 first week sales turned out to be a gold album in the end, but sadly they wouldn't release another album after that. As StereoGum.com put it, hip-hop had its own traditions, its own sense of prestige and importance, and Laffy Taffy violated all of that. Many felt D4L's sound was toddlerish and so easy anyone could do it, but so easy New York in particular didn't want it to be the face of hip-hop. It also confused labels on how were they going to sell this to their target demo. I highly believe D4L and Snap Music were hated on by the powers that be because they didn't understand or approve of the Snap movement, and just like that, Stunt number 2, Snap Music, died. Snap music as a subgenre of hip-hop had to have one of, if not the fastest, fall-offs in the history of rap. Snap music was a spin-off of, an evolution of sorts of crunk music popular to begin the 2000s. Them franchise boys would sign with Jermaine Dupri's So Def label and release the Billboard Top 100 song I Think They Like Me in 2004. They followed with White Tee, another Top 100, opening the door for a group like D4L in 2005. Shorty Low, member of D4L, was looking for a way to transition from the streets to legal rap money and decided to invest in a studio and local rappers. He then signed Fabo, Mook B, and Stuntman to D4L, and they quickly took off with their first single, Laffy Taffy. Snap Music would enjoy that year and 2006 all together in its prime, with a plethora of snap dance songs coming out in that span, which also spilled over into 2007. Snap Music played perfectly in that generation for those years because it was simple enough to follow along, and it was perfectly amateur sounding for ringtones, which was a huge industry in the 2000s. Laffy Taffy sold millions of ringtones. Although Snap Music wasn't even supposed to make it to mainstream and was really an Atlanta club hype, sounded so foreign and almost laughable that it was picked up with the youth who carried flip phones and sidekicks made for your favorite ringtone, and things took off. Laffy Taffy at the time was the highest selling ringtone until T-Pain came on the scene and, along with Soulja Boy, carried Snap Music through 2007 and early 2008, where it died off in favor of the rockstar swag rap era. It didn't help D4L broke up. Mook and Stuntman disappeared and Fabo couldn't make another hit. Shorty Low went on to have his own short success, and I still think he was an underrated artist. Stunt number 3, not seeing each other's vision. After their success and things started to cool off for D4L and Snap Music in general, the group could have used another hit to transition into the swag rap era or continue their own. Fabo wasn't the best rapper, but he was a star among the group for his personality and dance moves. Dance moves being popular at the time, and Fabo's flow being so different, made him always looked at as an artist in the group that could have went solo. After he began distancing himself and preparing for solo success, members of the group didn't understand why he wasn't coming around anymore and began to resent him. Shorty Low also went solo and had success in 2007 and 8 with his debut album Units in the City. Without Low and Fabo, D4L weren't making hits on their own, and the group essentially disappeared altogether, swallowed by the end of ringtone rap and Snap Music. All in all, D4L overachieved, seeing as no one expected them to have their moment in the sun in hip-hop. They were the most successful snap music group as far as Billboard is concerned and made music fun for the moment it lasted. Salute, much respect, but for these reasons, their growth was stunted. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.